podcast that is spreading positivity around the world by sharing inspiring life experiences. With me today is Drew Ann Long, a mother, inventor, and advocate uh, whose love for her daughter Caroline sparked a global movement for inclusion. She's the creator of Caroline's Cart, the special needs shopping cart now found in major stores across the US and beyond. From a simple napkin sketch to an international innovation, Joanne's journey shows the power of purpose, perseverance, and compassion in action. Today, we will delve into how she transformed challenges into change and what we can all learn from her remarkable story. As usual, we aim to educate, motivate, and inspire you. So grab your warm drinks and let's get the ball rolling. Hello, Joanne, and welcome to Podcast with Sheila.
Hello, so happy to be here. I'm excited to get to tell my story.
Great. Every inventor has a spark moment. Can you take us back to the moment you realized your daughter Caroline was outgrowing the conventional shopping carts and how that frustration turned into the idea of Caroline's cart?
Sure. So Caroline I have three children. Caroline is my middle child, and she was born with a severe genetic disability, doesn't walk or talk. She's now 25. Um, but when she was younger and I would go to the grocery store, I would take her with me and put her in the carts that they had. She would still fit in them. Well, when she was around 8 or 9 years old, she had outgrown everything. And I went to the store manager and I just said, I'm from small town Alabama, and I'm sure there is a special needs shopping cart. Would you buy it for this store? And he said, yes, I will. So I circled back about a week later. I had done my homework, he had done his homework, and there was not a special needs shopping cart. And it was shocking to me that one had never been thought of.
Yeah.
And so really, I mean, that was the moment. It was like, wow, now what do I do? What do other moms do? What do other dads do? And other caregivers? I mean, this is a huge, huge need globally.
Wow. So it's like solving a huge problem for parents with special needs children. And I think that that is really working a lot. I'd like to us to talk more about it as we go along. But you sketched your first concept on a napkin over dinner with your husband. Walk us through that transition. How did you go from napkin sketch to working with engineers, designers, prototype firms, especially when you didn't come from a technical or engineering background?
Oh my goodness. Well, I once I identified the need and knew there was nothing out there, I just talked about it all the time. Probably for a year, I would just talk about it and think about it. So finally, one night, my husband and I were at dinner, and I drew it on a napkin. I was like, "It's not hard. It's not motorized. It's nothing electrical. I didn't even invent the shopping cart. I just modified a shopping cart." So I drew it on a napkin and I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. None whatsoever, but it can't be that hard. Ha ha, I was wrong. I'm going to give it a go. So I just had to literally hunt and peck on the internet. I was a mom first. My husband traveled for a living. He was always gone. I had three little kids, one severely disabled. So I had to do this when I could find pockets of time during the day. And it was trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And it took me years to do it because I'm not corporate America.
Mm.
I did take, I did take my napkin drawing to corporate America shopping cart manufacturers in the US, and there was four of them, and they all shot me down. They said not interested. Nobody was interested in this. So I either had to quit talking about it or try to find a way. And that's what I did. I had to get my prototype, a very, one to take pictures of. Um, it was very, very expensive. I'm glad I did not know how much money and how much time, because I would never have done it. It was financially very hard for years and years. We had to take all of our savings. We had to take our retirement. um, it was a huge risk, but a risk that I was willing to take because I believed in this product. Um, so once I got my prototype in May of 2011, I took pictures of it and I put it on social media. and it exploded. And everyone globally was asking me, where is this? I need to shop with this. I have to have this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Because I didn't have a manufacturer. I was
Yeah.
just taking pictures of this cart. But that was the encouragement and the support that I needed. So it was quite a journey. It was very difficult, and it took years because I had to figure it out as I went.
Wow. Somebody said the road to success is not an easy journey, and anybody who's been on that road can definitely tell you. I don't know if they don't make it easy on you, but
No,
then it takes perseverance. And like you said, you keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And it
right.
just took one um out of the blue act, like just posting it on social media, somebody seeing it, and then it went viral. And I believe with that interest, manufacturers were then interested to help you develop it.
Right, but they weren't. So, I once I got my prototype, I went back to the manufacturer for a second time. There's four, and I narrowed them down to one, the best, the biggest. It's in North Carolina, USA. So first time they told me no in person. About a year later, I got my prototype, and I had put it on social media, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, everybody wants this. So I go back a second time, and they told me no again. I had taken my prototype, so now I'm like, I've made progress. I'm still here, and they told me no again. And I was like, wow. I mean, I remember I cried all the way home. I had to drive from, a couple states over. And I still refused to give up
Yeah.
because they don't live in my world. They were, everybody was very dismissive. And that's it's a very knee jerk reaction. I understand that. But the special needs population is the world's largest minority group. We are in every community, in the schools, in the churches, at the playgrounds. We're everywhere. And they just didn't believe in it. So I was forced then to find a non-traditional manufacturer, someone that had never made shopping carts from Georgia, and he made me 100 carts. And I had to seed the market with those carts. I went to Walmart and Target and the big chains, and nobody wanted it. They liked it, but they said, we only buy from the big manufacturer.
Mm.
Well, I mean, they had told me no twice.
Yeah.
So the only shot I had was to try to seed the market with the small chains, the mom and pop stores, the locally owned. And I just started making phone calls across the United States. That's what I did. Um, Places I've never been. I sold the first cart to a store in Chicago, and it was a small. I told my story over the phone, and he said, "Okay, I'll do it." And that's how it started. So it took about a year to seed the market across the U.S. And after that, the momentum really started
Mm.
picking up. And about a year later, my phone rang, and it was the manufacturer in North Carolina. And they asked me to come back on my third trip number three. And that's when they agreed to be the manufacturer. So I had to create the demand. I mean, they made me work for it. They are the best manufacturer. So without them, Caroline's Cart would not be successful because they had all the relationships with all the stores. So, I tell people that if it wasn't for social media and the support I got from the special needs community, it wouldn't happen because I'm just one voice.
Yeah.
I'm just one voice. I needed a nationwide voice. I
Yeah.
needed nationwide demand. And yes, it was my idea. It was my money that did it, but it still would not have happened without that nationwide global voice saying, we want this. We need this in our stores. And here's a picture of it if you haven't seen it. But it's just a very simple design. I mean, it's just a big seat. It holds an adult up to 250 pounds. And you
Wow.
just put the product on the bottom. And now it's everywhere now. It is absolutely in the US, it is everywhere. I mean, there's still, I won't say, I mean, I don't want to give a percentage, but the majority of stores in the United States now have them.
Great.
So, yeah.
As you were speaking, you had gone through a lot of hurdles and challenges. I want to find out what kept you moving, because you had said that you put a lot of money into it, you put your savings into it. At a point on that journey, it looked like it wasn't going to happen because you had a number of no's and you were expecting a yes, but it wasn't coming. What kept you moving and still believing in the dream?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked. Three things. Number one, first and foremost, was my daughter Caroline. You know, she doesn't walk, she doesn't talk. The world would say she has no value, she has no purpose. Well, I don't believe that. I believe that God created her, um, just like He created you and me. So I did it for her, and she inspired me. And she doesn't have the ability to go out and fight, so I do. I fight for her. First and foremost, my daughter. Number two, the special needs community. When I had put this out there in 2011, in the infancy of this journey, it was instantly popular. You know, people wanted it. And I felt responsible for getting it done. You know, they put pressure on me, but a good pressure, because they supported me. I mean, these are millions of people I've never met. They were encouraging me, and they were counting on me. So it was a great pressure. It was like the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm like, this is not just going to fail me. I'm going to fail millions of people. Number three, oh my gosh, financially, the debt we were in. You know, my husband and I, we put everything we had into this. We were maxed out on every credit card. We had no savings. We had no retirement. And when you are financially in that situation, that will motivate you real quick that
Yeah.
you better make this happen. So those were my three main motivators that kept me going.
Wow. As I was listening to your three main motivators, it sounded like everybody needs that at some point in their life. When sometimes you may be going through something and you either feel like giving up or you think you've done enough, you don't want to do anymore. It's like,
Right.
but then,
I don't care what you're what everybody's life's hard.
mhm,
Everybody's, it ebbs and flows. Everybody's got hills and valleys. It is critical that you have a support system, you know, to get you through the hard times, no matter what that is, whether it's personal, whether it's business. Um, I encourage everyone just to join, just to, if you don't have it, start building that, because it is critical to do life with like-minded people that are going to support you along the way.
wow, that's beautifully said. At what point in the development process did you feel overwhelmed, out of your depth, or fearful of failure? How did you push past those moments? What inner resources or mindset saved you? I think we had just talked about that, but if you would like to throw more light on that.
Well, my husband and I are deep in our faith, and we believe in God. And I just, you know, it was so it was just insane what it took. It was so much harder than I thought. Again, had I seen that, I had a crystal ball and seen it, I would have been like, I'm no way am I going to put myself through that kind of it was torture. I felt like I was on an island. So, you know, I prayed a lot, and I had a great support system, and I believed in it from the depths of my soul. You know, I my family says that Caroline's card is my fourth child, you know,
Yeah.
and I treated it as that. You know, I woke up every day and I'm like, I have to do something. I've got to make progress, whether it be big or small. I learned early on that failure is part of the process. It just is. So the failures and the roadblocks used to set me back and knock me down. But after you endure those for so long, it becomes natural and normal. So I didn't. You have to get to a point where you don't fear the failures anymore. You just can't fear those failures. You know. So you know you have to buck up and just know they're coming. Stay focused. Have that community support and see it to the end.
Wow. Then you get numb to failures. You don't care about it, whether you fail or
That's
not,
right.
because, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
They don't scare. You know they used to scare me and trip me up. Then I was like, come on, I ain't scared. Let's go. You know, it just
Is
it
that
just
what
becomes.
life challenges and experience does to you? It toughens you in areas that
Oh sure.
initially weren't, and it makes
Oh
you a better
100%.
person. Yeah.
And I think having a disabled child, you know, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a disabled child. That is not the child I prayed for, but that is the child that I got. And I had to just trust God that, okay, you have a plan and a purpose for her life. But being a special needs parent will toughen you up,
Yeah.
because no matter what Caroline has ever gotten in her life, it's been a fight. And she can't fight. So I have to fight for her to give her, fight in school, in getting her equipment, getting all the things. And I think that helped me with Caroline's cart. So because, she was 8 or 9 when I started it, and I had started to I was developing that spirit, that tough skin. So I think that that certainly was an added bonus in starting this project.
Great. This wasn't part of my questions, but as you were talking, I felt like asking, because a number of parents find themselves in this situation, and somebody may just have walked into it as having a baby who is a special needs child and not knowing what to do, is confused, worried, and all of that. As somebody who's lived those years, what experience or what can you say to such a person to encourage them and say, you're going to be fine?
Yeah, you are going to be fine. You don't understand it. And I'll speak from my experience. I didn't want it. I was devastated. What, you don't know what to do. Your whole world has just been turned upside down.
Yes.
But life goes on, and that child needs you to be strong, needs you to fight for them. I think the first thing I would do is, and social media makes it so easy, get on there and join support groups. You will be, I mean, I am in so many support groups overseas, different countries, of my daughter's diagnosis, which is Rett syndrome. Families I have never met, but that is where I go when I'm having bad days to say, I need encouragement. I need to know I'm not walking this alone. And you're not. So if you find yourself with a child of disability, you've just become a member of the world's largest minority group.
Wow.
People are here to help you. You are absolutely not alone. And yeah, just take every day. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Take one day at a time, and it will get easier. It's overwhelming in the beginning, but as each day goes on, it does get easier.
Wow. When did you first realize Caroline's cat was having a real life changing impact on families? Do any of your stories or your users have a story that emotionally affirm the value of your work?
Oh, so many stories. And if it wasn't for the stories, wow. Again, the stories kept me going, because even when Caroline's cart got out there, it was growing slow, and it's back then, it's huge now. It wasn't huge in the beginning. So I would get emails from families saying, for the first time, I was able to take my child to the grocery store.
Yeah.
My son, a lot of kids with autism use Caroline's cart. It's actually our number one user. Those kids walk just fine, but they're runners, and they grow up and they're big, and the parents can't, confine them anymore. So I got an email one time from a lady. Her son was 18 in another state, that said, my child loves to go to the store and pick out his cereal. He loves that. But I can't take him anymore because he gets overwhelmed, he gets overstimulated, and he'll run off, and he has no fear. And it's a disaster. She said, we only can go to stores that have Caroline's cart. And I want to thank you for allowing him to go back out into the community and pick out his cereal just like he used to do when he was younger. Those are the stories that keep me going. Absolutely.
Great. So at the time you developed or you made your first sketch to the point where you started having the cart in shops, how long did it take?
Ooh, gosh, 5-ish years probably. I mean, it was years. And again, a lot of people are like, why did it take so long? Well, I was a mom first. I
Yeah.
was I was
Mhm.
doing
Yeah.
this. Yeah. And here's another thing, a lot of people bring products to market. Millions of people. If you ever watch Shark Tank in the US, there's a show,
Mm.
develop a product, they put it on Amazon, they sell it, it's great.
Yeah.
I am the unicorn. I developed a product that people wanted, but they couldn't buy it.
Yeah.
The consumers wanted this instantly. I couldn't sell to them. I had to bypass the consumer and sell it to the retailer. The retailers don't buy this and mark it up and sell it. I come off the bottom line.
Yeah.
So it was a much, much harder sell, a much harder journey than the typical entrepreneur that just brought a product to market. I didn't have the luxury of selling to the consumer. So I think that's another reason it took so long.
Because you had mentioned that you're a Christian, so I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think that um, you've been guided and directed by the Holy Spirit on this part to develop this? And have you received guidance from the Holy Spirit to grow this business at any point as a
One
Christian?
1000%. I believe that um, I believe that God ordained this long before my daughter was born. You
Yeah.
know, my husband said it perfectly. A lot of people, when they have disabled children, become bitter. They're angry. They don't want. I understand that. I get that. We had to come to a point in her diagnosis of total surrender. After 4 years of crying, I had to quit crying. I had to say, okay, God, not what I wanted, but okay, I accept this child. Use her in a mighty way. I think had I been bitter, I do not think that God would have given me the vision of Caroline's heart. I think he would have given it to someone else. So I believe, when I started it, I prayed, my husband prayed, we were like, I have no idea how to do this. None. And I told the Lord, I said, I'll do this as long as you let me do it. You're gonna have to guide me, direct me, and open the doors. What I thought was it would be easy. I'd be like, boop, 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 boop. And it was, you know, just because God tells you to do it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Trust
Yeah.
me. But our faith was stretched, tried, strengthened. Um, I I don't think you can look at my story and not see how God was behind it all the way. So thank you for asking that. I appreciate it.
Wow. You also founded Caroline's Cause, which offers scholarships for siblings of children with special needs. How did that vision emerge out of your work with the cart, and how does it tie into the broader mission of inclusion and equality?
Okay, so because of the success of Caroline's cart, once we got that off the ground and it really started, to become big, um, my daughter was going to college and we were looking for scholarships for her. And we thought, well, maybe there's a scholarship for a sibling of a special, if you have a special, and there wasn't. So my husband and I founded Caroline's Cause. And what it does is you have to be a family like mine. You have to have both typical and a special needs child. We wanted to reward the sibling. I've watched my kids, my typical kids, they make sacrifices over the years for Caroline.
Yeah.
They love her, they know her no different, but there are things we simply cannot do. There are times that they'd wanted to do things and we're like, we can't do that. So we wanted to reward the sibling and help them with a college scholarship. It helps the family, it helps the student, and we say it's a win-win-win: a win for the family, a win for the student, but ultimately a win for the special needs sibling because they're the reason you got it to begin with, and it really honors both children in that family.
Oh, that's beautiful. If someone listening has a strong idea rooted in personal experience or frustration, but feels underqualified, with no technical background, no network, etc., what would you tell them? What concrete first step or mindset shift matters most?
Um, w- well, I feel like you're talking to old me because I was not qualified. I had no idea what I'm doing. I would, do your homework. I would make sure that you had all your ducks in a row. You got to believe in it. You got to work hard. You got to know it's going to cost more than you think.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer than you think, and it's going to be harder than you think. So if you are ready to tackle all those things that are going to make it extremely difficult, I encourage you to do it. I mean, I look back and I am glad that I was so naive in the beginning. That played into my favor. But
Yeah.
my advice to someone else would just know the hardships that you're going to encounter. And I think you have to try, because if you don't try, you'll always wonder what could have been if I did it. What could have been.
In what ways has Caroline Cart changed your life and your family's life? Because I know you've received a lot of awards, and when I went through your picture and your profile, I see that you've been through on a lot of huge platforms. Let's talk about some of the success stories this invention has brought into your life.
Well, it was life changing for my family. You cannot go through, and my kids as well. They were home. They're grown now, but my typical kids watched this journey. They watched the hardships. They prayed with us, over family dinner of what are the next steps, Lord? We don't know. We have no idea. So it was an unbelievable blessing, even through the hardships,
Yeah.
for my typical kids, for me and my husband, and for onlookers to say, wow, it wasn't easy. They give God the glory for this. Um, and it has it's opened doors for me to be an advocate, not only for Caroline, but for this world's largest minority group. And that's what I want it to be next steps for me. I want, I speak, I travel. I love doing that because I want to encourage. I'm one of them. I know my daughter is 25 years old and wears a diaper. Okay. That's not fun. But that's what I got. And I want to speak to these families and to encourage them and to say, life goes on. It can be happy. I encourage you to be that advocate for your child. I encourage you to take risks. If there's something you want to do, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee the cart would be successful. But I think that if it means enough to you, you've got to try and you've got to put yourself out there. No one's going to do it for you. No one. When I was down and had bad days on the cart, I remember thinking, well, there's nobody here to help me, so let's go. Yeah, let me see if I can get myself out of this rut. So I won't say it's an easy journey, but I will say it's been a very blessed journey. I'm very thankful that the Lord chose my family, and I'm excited for podcasts like this where you allow me to continue my story, continue being a voice, continue raising awareness for what I do.
Yeah. I like how you've told your story, making us see that it doesn't matter what the story is or the situation is, it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at the good side of it, the positive side of it, if you're looking at coming out on the other side or the other end, a better person, rather than focusing on the negatives and the down moments, you become a better person. So it depends on how you twist the whole situation and how you decide to view it and manage it. That will work for your good.
Well, of course, happiness is a choice, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Happiness is a choice. And there were days when my daughter was, she grew up in the hospital. We were there all the time. Um, I would talk to retailers from her bedside. I had a lot of opportunities to throw this to the side to say I can't do it. It's too hard. But at the end of the day, I didn't want my other children to feel burdened by this or think that Caroline was a burden. So you have to find that happiness and
Yeah.
say, this is just a season of life. I'm going to get through it. Whether you have a special needs child or not, life is hard. Everybody's going to have something. Everybody's got something. Okay. I feel like everybody just knows what my something is because I'm out there. So I encourage everyone to just, find your happiness and be prepared for the bad days, but no, they're not going to last forever.
I like that. How do you balance emotional weight of the course, the lived experiences, the families depending on you with the often cold competitive business realities of manufacturing, supply chain, and scaling? How do you avoid burnout and discouragement? That one, I would like to hear what you'd say about it.
Okay, so you're saying how the burnout from the cart or the cause?
The cards.
Well, I don't have to. Okay, so once I got a manufacturing contract, the manufacturer handles took a lot of that off of me. Okay. So I do all of social media. I still travel. I speak. I go to shows. Um, but the balance is hard, if that was the word you used.
Yeah.
You have to, well, you have to find that balance. You have to make that balance. Nobody can do that for you. I will never be an empty nester. They say when your kids grow up, they leave, and that's never going to be me. So balance is especially hard for me and my husband, because just yesterday I was invited to go speak somewhere. I still have to find babysitters. I still have to, so balance is a daily struggle. Let me say that.
Yeah.
But you find ways to make it work. What choice do I have? I want to go and I want to keep doing what I do, but I have to make it work. My husband and I, we have to have caregivers and all the things to continue doing what we do.
Yeah.
So balance is a critical step, and a critical word in our world for sure.
Was there a point in your life on this journey where you stopped living?
Stopped living, meaning what?
Stop
Meaning
taking
just,
care of yourself. Stop taking care of you. You
oh, for
stop.
sure. I mean, for sure. I just oh gosh, yes, because doing this, having my daughter was always in dance, my son was in t-ball and all the, in school, and trying to keep their life as normal and balanced as possible while having a child in and out of the hospital, while trying to get this product off the ground. I mean,
Yeah.
I laugh and say that they were years of my life I really don't have good memory back then, because it was so insane. Plus, my husband had to pay the bills, so he had a job where he was gone most weeks.
Yeah.
So it was a time that I would not want to repeat, for sure. Glad I did it. Glad that's behind me, and I'm glad that the Lord has allowed us to see the success of the cart and has put a new season of life in me with the cause and traveling and speaking.
Beautiful. Looking ahead, what are your dreams and goals for Caroline's Cart and beyond? Are there innovations, expansions, or new product ideas you are incubating that you can share with us today?
My goal for Caroline's Cart is for it to be in every single store, and it's not. Yes, it is wildly successful. We are in every Walmart in the United States. But example, Walmart Canada told us no. Walmart Mexico told us no. So I have a lot of work to do to
Yeah.
continue fighting for the special needs community. There is no excuse for a store to not have Caroline's Cart when they have all those other shopping carts. There is no excuse. So, for as far as Caroline's Cart goes, yes, I'm still advocating and traveling every single day for the cause. Um, I love working on this nonprofit. If someone hires me to speak, they can get a tax deduction. They can pay Caroline's cause. They bring me to speak, they get a tax deduction, and then I can raise awareness and raise money for families like mine to give them scholarships. So that's where I'm at now. It is again a blessing to see the cart so successful. However, there is still work to be done. Still work to be done.
Wow. What surprised you about yourself through this journey?
What surprised me? Wow, I really found my voice. I I've lost a lot of fear along the way. I had so many failures and so many people rejecting the cart and telling me no, no, no. I really just became numb to it, and I realized that no is just a word.
Yeah.
It's just a word. And you're responsible for what that means to you. And I really just learned through all of this that you have to be consistent in what you do. You have to, again, I keep coming back to believe in it. You have to know that what you're doing is for the greater good. And I knew this cart, despite what corporate America said, despite what the no's still say, I still know this cart is for the greater good. And that's why I continue to do podcast and travel and speak on it.
What would you say to your younger self before starting this journey?
Buckle up, cowgirl. It's gonna be hard. I would say you are about to be on the craziest roller coaster you have ever been on. You're going to be screaming some days to get off. You're going to be loving it some days, saying, I hope this ride never ends. It is going to just be a constant, um, it's just going to be a constant battle, yet fun times, yet rewarding times. Um, but overall, it's going to, it was, it's going to be good overall.
Your story has been so inspirational. You've been on a very difficult journey, yet you did not allow it to stop you. You went on to invent something that is helping a lot of people around the world. Thank you very much for coming on Podcast with Sheila today.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
Great. If you've been listening in, this is season 2, episode 141 of our podcast series, where we bring seasoned guests with inspiring life stories and experiences to share with us. Do not miss out on all these wonderful experiences. Subscribe and be notified when a new episode is released. And our prayer for you this week is that you become an advocate and a lover of peace. Until we meet again, have a brilliant evening. Bye.